You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
The heroes are back. Beards talking balls, rapping pink and black. Coming live from the 305, it's official tissue. The Batter Fan, Chris and Dan, weekly rocking with you. We talk Messi, Boosie, Jordy, Lucho, the Fat Four, to Ben Cram, Noah, Ruiz, Fred. What more could you ask for? Tighten up and get ready, listen in on the pod. Solana and X in Espanol, just to even the odds. Breakdowns and gas bagging, join the tribe and just vibe. $3.99, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't hesitate, say what's up, go ahead and come in. No question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
Chris, the Herons are back. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 362 of the Batter Heroes podcast. I am your host, Daniel Canada, and alongside me, as always, Mr. KBD. How are you doing, sir?
This might be the suspected battle of the tens tomorrow.
Shut up.
This might be an epic showdown of all showdowns.
I'm going to have to ask our guest. I don't even know if Bryce Duke sees the pitch anymore.
Well, he didn't see the pitch in the last game. So I imagine that there's something going on there. He's injured, but I would think he'd be ready for this one.
Yeah. All right. So Chris, we are here. We're talking Montreal, but before we bring our guest on, real quick, since our last episode, a lot of people killing you for being so negative, then killing me for being too soft, and apparently being too optimistic. So, how are we feeling going into this game? Are you feeling a little more positive? Are you still feeling like the world is ending? Like, how are you feeling going into tomorrow's matchup?
If we don't win by 2+ goals, like, it's completely over. This whole season is done. Like,
so what if we just win?
No, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So if we win 1-0 against Montreal,
we win.
Okay, I don't know what to do with that. I have absolutely no idea what to do with that.
It's better than a
loss.
Do you
not know that Montreal is one of the worst teams in the league?
You know, Montreal has allowed 25 goals in this year, one of the worst in the league. You know, Inter Miami has allowed 24. Like, as far as defensively, we're not that far off. So I think you need to pump the brakes a little bit.
But they also don't have Messi, and we do.
Well, their attack is very poor, that's for sure. But I'm just saying, like, relax. Just a win should be enough. So going into this game, you're feeling like they need to blow the doors off of Montreal, or
my God, yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a horrible way to go into a game.
If I wasn't happy with a tie against the best in the East, I mean, we came back in that game. And I didn't feel good about that. You think I'm going to feel good with a 1-0 win against Montreal? No way.
But they haven't won in a while. You should just be happy that they're winning.
Listen, Toronto put six up against them like a week ago.
All you said was you wanted 6 points out of the next 3 games. It's still possible.
I want 6 total goals in tomorrow's game. How about that?
All right, so I think you're just gasbagging at this point. I will tell you that the way that they drew against Philadelphia, I think is outside of a win, right? Because obviously a win is what you want. But if you were going to draw against Philadelphia, this was best case scenario. You ended up getting 2 goals in the last 10 minutes or so of the game. And you kind of went in there with the whole, like, everybody's like, oh, you know, they're still fighting. They didn't give up, blah, 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 which I think is silly, right? I think it's silly talk, but whatever works mentally. So apparently they feel good because they feel like they salvaged this draw. And now they're going into a team that we both feel like they should be at home.
Handedly.
Right? Shut up. We'll just win. So you get I feel like for their psyche and even for the fan psyche, I feel like it's good. I think it's good that they salvaged that loss because they were going to lose, that they got those 2 goals. If they can get a win, which I think they should win by more than 1, but even if they, for some reason, only win by 1, I still think that these are positive steps. So that's how I'm feeling. So
I listen, it's unacceptable. And Isaiah is asking, What if Mascherano sends a B team?
Well, and that's another thing because we don't know. And let's get into that before we bring our guest. One last thing I wanted to touch on with you. It's a short week.
A Dallas roster? Dallas roster?
No, I don't think it'll be Dallas, but a short week with Columbus up ahead. Now, because I think that they need this win, like this is a game that, must wins are silly to talk about, especially this early in the season. But this is a game you need to win. I feel like there might be some rotation, but like you gotta win this game. So I don't know if we're gonna have like a Dallas type of rotation.
I just see it's comments like this that just get me to my core. Let's just put together a complete game plan. Can you believe that we're saying that?
Yes.
At this point in the season?
Yes. Unfortunately, the MLS is a league of parity. It's a league of parity, and you got to get your stuff together. And if they can salvage that Philly game, get a win here, and then somehow beat Columbus, all of a sudden you're feeling good. And thank you, Umi. Oh, yeah, and I had to wear the Liverpool. I don't think anybody, maybe some Liverpool fans, but anybody that lives in Liverpool probably isn't watching. But regardless, horrible what happened yesterday during that Liverpool celebration. But yes, I wanted to rep a little Liverpool today because that really sucked yesterday. Chris, go ahead.
I just want to say, look, Mr. Krabs, we could win 4-0 and Chris would not be satisfied. That's incorrect. We win 4-0 tomorrow. I will be, you know what I'll be? I'll be like, meh, like in the mid. Okay, we're supposed to beat this team 4-0. How about that? That's what's supposed to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, whatever. So what are you predicting starting 11 before we bring on Andy?
Okay, are we gonna go with Team B here or like?
I don't think so.
Tell
me what you think. I don't think we're going with Team B.
Listen, there's no way we should be going Team B. Like after this week,
it's going to be very similar to this.
After after this game and the next game, there's 2 weeks off. Mm-hmm. So like, there's no getting out of this. It's gonna look just like this.
I agree.
The only thing obviously Bright just got injured, so you're probably gonna see Redondo in his place.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with Falcon. I don't know what's going on. He's not fitting well with Mascherano, or something's happening in the practices, or he's like,
I thought he's dinged up.
So I don't know if maybe he starts over Aviles because apparently Lujan is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
He's a Swiss Army knife.
And I do think, unfortunately, even though I don't want to see it, I do think that Wagon is going to start. I don't think that Frey is going to stay with the start.
I could see that. I could see them not giving Frey 3 games in 1 week just because of his injury history. I could definitely see that. Okay.
Yes. And then on top of that, it's not just that, but it's also, like I said, we're playing against Montreal. Like, do we really need Ian Frey for this extra offensive relentlessness attack? Like, we don't need that.
Well, I will tell you that if there was ever a time where Miami could put up a few goals and you've been going to the stadium and been upset with the lack of production on the attack, tomorrow's a fun game to go out there to the stadium and watch because there's a chance we put up a couple. So, that should be well. And Toto Aviles, I feel, always plays well. He makes some boneheaded fouls that hasn't done it in a while. And then, yes, last year Montreal did randomly beat us last year. One of the 4 losses we had in the regular season, and that happened like early in the year. I believe Messi wasn't playing. Messi was injured for that game. But yes, that happened early in the season. That was like March 10th, March 9th, so really early in the season. Yeah.
So Circus Fun is saying 2 games ago, right before Falcon got subbed off, he was holding the back of his leg a lot. I think he got injured. So allegedly, reportedly, right now, Circus Fun is reporting from Baptist Health Center of South Florida that Falcon is apparently injured, allegedly.
Right. Anything else you want to talk Inter Miami before we bring Andy on? Oh, one last thing. I ordered this end of February.
Didn't you order the 4? Didn't you order 4 of them? The whole combo?
They all look the same.
Okay. So you didn't do the combo.
No. First of all, it was expensive as hell. And they all look the same. What the hell? So yeah, but I ordered this end of February. How do I just get this today?
Didn't they ship them out like in May in the beginning?
I don't know, but it's the end of May. It took me
Almost
3
4
months.
weeks.
3 months.
Oh well,
to get
yeah.
this?
Well, I mean,
So-
considering they were shipping them out in May, I would say like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, but if you look at the collection, they all look identical almost.
They
All right,
do. I think it's so dumb. The same
Yeah.
beard, the same mustache, same
Everything,
hair.
everything.
What a mess.
All right. So
Bro.
without further ado, we do have our guest on here from the Ball is Round podcast, representing Montreal, all the way from Montreal, is Andy. Where you at, Andy? There you are. What's going on, Andy? How you doing, sir?
What's going on, guys?
Here, living the American dream.
Right. Last time I came on here, I said que voilà hacer, but this time I'm gonna say bonjour, bonjour.
Ooh,
He said, "Okay, well, because
Do you guys
Andy-
always do this? Like
Right.
leave your guests hanging while you're just like ranting on the team? Is this like a normal thing?
Yes.
It's pretty normal. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, we use
That
Chris doesn't usually go that hard on teams. I don't know what.
well,
what's
it's
going on with Chris.
look,
It was personal.
listen, Andy, I'm sorry. I apologize for being so unbearable, but Danny frustrated me last episode when he got so happy that we had a flash in the pan against Philadelphia in the last 8 minutes of the game. Like, whoop-de-doo. We played such a great game against Philadelphia. Oh, my God.
I told you that I would have been happy even if we would have lost. Not happy, but I thought that we played better than we had in the past. And I told you this.
You're done. You're cooked in the chat. You're cooked in the chat. Absolutely.
I said this.
You're
I said
done.
this last episode. So
You're done.
all
You're
right,
done.
Andy. Before we get going, you said that you are originally from Miami.
Yes, because I saw somebody that put that I'm a random Venezuelan. No, I'm Peruvian, and I grew up in Miami, spent my whole life in Miami. That's why I know the Miami expression and the Miami locations. But I came to Montreal for the team.
He does.
You came for the team?
No, I did not. No, I did not. No, I didn't. But, yeah. Oh, and
Okay.
Okay, Pedro Pascal, I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right. So Montreal, Wilfred Nancy leaves and things kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on this year? Because I didn't think that Montreal would be good this year, but I didn't think that luckily the LA Galaxy exists, because if not, Montreal would be by far the worst team in the league right now. What's going on with Montreal so far this season?
I mean, they fired their head coach after 5 games. That tells you the story. 7 games on the road, didn't win once. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're on our interim head coach. I think 5 games in, 1 victory all season. It's just as bad as Chris like mentioned it, but I mean, we try to. I think we're so. Every pod that we do every Sunday with Elias, we just like it's so negative that we kind of become numb to it. So we try to like grasp at the little things, such like you said, Daniel, of like, let's just win. Let's just have a victory, because that's just where we're at. We just need a victory. And we've been getting happy with ties, draws in the past few games. So it's annoying. It's annoying. And that's just if I can sum up we've had a lot of injuries, a lot of signings, then from LA Galaxy, we had Jalen Neal, Giacomo Vrioni, and they were just injured. They were slow to get to the game. So, yeah, it's just been kind of a crappy season to start.
Well, and I mean, Chris and I have been doing an MLS show, so we watch a little bit of all the teams, and I've watched some Montreal. And to me, your best 2 players, Sealy and Campbell. And my understanding is that Campbell might be leaving.
Yeah, well, today they broke the news that there are rumors that he might be going to Bristol. Bristol City in England, and that'll be honestly the first time but the first time in a long time that this whole philosophy of CF Montreal of developing young players, from other teams, including Inter Miami, and developing them and then selling them off to Europe, it would be the first time since 2022 that it actually successfully worked. If it does come to fruition.
For those wondering, he's a center back.
Yeah, he's a center back, and he's a big prospect also for the U.S. men's national team. And he's just been in all honesty, he's been our top player of the season, and with reason, because he's been any assignment that's been thrown his way, and we'll probably see it tomorrow too with Lionel Messi or whoever's in front of him. He's been locking it up. He has had a few injuries throughout the season, but the biggest thing with him is that the moment he plays and the moment he doesn't play, there's a massive drop in his position, and that's not okay. That's not what a
Right.
good team is supposed to have. They're supposed to have backups that are competing, legitimately competing. So, yeah. So George Campbell, Dante Sealy has had a lot of minutes just because CF Montreal doesn't have any other natural wingers, and that's something that the head coach has said over the press conference several times because they changed the formation mid-season, which is really weird. They
Yeah.
went from being a back three to all of a sudden back four, and they don't have wingers. They literally got signed players that were wing backs, not wingers. So Dante Sealy's the closest thing they have to wingers. So that's why he's getting so many minutes.
So I have a couple questions here. Does Owusu frustrate Montreal fans more or less? Because like he frustrates the hell out of me when I watch Montreal. Like I literally was watching the last couple games for CF Montreal just for the MLS show to prep for it. And Owusu is such a frustrating player to watch.
He is a frustrating player to watch individually. I think he's missed a lot of chances. And as I mentioned, the first 7 games on the road were brutal for him too. And it was just a thing of, we talked about it on the show. It seems that he was overthinking every move and just overthinking in front of the net, wide open net, simple moves. He was just overthinking them. And so the return of Giacomo Vrioni was a humongous help to him, and you noticed that it put a lot of pressure off his weight, and he's been slowly making his way back, and he's actually a key part of what CF Montreal is trying to do when they play.
Well, and I was looking at your record, like in terms of the last couple games, like honestly, other than the game against Toronto,
yeah,
right? Like everything's been fairly close,
yeah,
right? You got a lot of 1-0, 0-0s. It hasn't been like a slacking and then you have Montreal versus LAFC in this last game, but like for the most part, you guys typically keep things very close. So it's not like you're sitting in a weird place where it's like you're not getting blown out of the water, but at the same time you're just not winning games.
Yeah, so that's the thing, and we talked. I wish everybody here and all you guys would have listened to our show right after the Toronto FC game because it was brutal. It was brutal, 6-1, but it was after a red card. It was a red card, and I think Elias said it best. He said, "If CF Montreal, the players, the fans, everybody needs to forget Toronto FC because it was an anomaly, and because there was a red card very early on, and."
Yes.
Marco Donadel, the head coach, at the end of the game in the post-game press conference, he kind of admitted, well, he didn't kind of, he said it. He said, I haven't had time to practice that case scenario with my team. So, and it clearly showed on the field that everybody was very confused as to what they were doing. And Toronto was like, well, this is so easy. We just, and Miami would have probably done the 10-1, honestly, because Messi would have had a field day. But yeah, no, it definitely was, beyond that, I mean, if you watch the CF Montreal games, they are competitive. They are at the proper level of the team that they're playing, which is good and bad. But yeah, that's.
So I know you said you went from a back 3 to a back 4. So what formation do you play, and what kind of style of play with the new coach?
So with the new coach, there's been they've since Laurent Courtois got let go, they Marco Donadel has instilled a back 4. And what they're doing is what's really been remarkable about this team, and Daniel, we spoke a little earlier, is how much better how much they've improved defensively. And we're not even talking about offensively. Defensively, they've improved because Marco Donadel is making them play a man-to-man defense, really, where you'll see a center back go all the way to the front just defending his guy that went all the way down, which as I spoke, George Campbell seems to have mastered that art of just locking down whatever assignment is to him. And that's something that has, because they're locking down these targets, it's kind of frustrated, which hopefully can happen with Miami tomorrow, has frustrated some of the stars and has allowed for CF Montreal to attack. Not necessarily on the breakaway, but it builds up to, like, they kind of jump on errors that are made by the other team because obviously they can't find their guy or their player. And yeah, so that's, I know it's kind of an extended answer as to how they play, but that's pretty much what I've been observing how Marco Donadel makes his team play. It's really like, do your job and jump at the opportunity if it rises up. So
And we were talking earlier. You told me they don't necessarily play the counter, right? They're not playing a low block looking for the counter. They build up their in the attack.
Yeah.
But
So
because our issue has been teams that kind of lay back in a lower block and then try to beat us on the counter, because that's where we've been suffering.
yeah. What CF Montreal likes to do is they like to essentially draw the other team to come down to the goalie, and then the goalie sent Jonathan Sirois for the most part has been sending it to Prince Owosu, who's been using his body to sell the
Okay.
ball, and then that second
Yes.
ball for the speedy like Dante Sealy, as you mentioned, or it can be on the right Victor Lattori or Fabien Herbert. He's not going to be there tomorrow, but anybody that plays that right middle will do that second ball and kind of rush behind whatever center back that the striker drew. So it's kind of a build up in a way, but it is it
So
is
they're playing the long ball though.
yeah, the long ball. So it's been working very well. I mean, it's Jonathan Sirois has improved massively in his distribution, which was a huge factor last year. But yeah, it's a lot of positive things, even though the record doesn't show it, and for good reason.
Yep.
Well, I was just going to ask, what players should we be looking out for? Because you just mentioned one of the people that I've kind of noticed throughout some time, Fabian Herbers. To me, he seems like
I hate
an okay
that guy.
Yeah, but he seems like an okay player. Like who's somebody? Yeah,
I don't know if you remember, Chris, or yeah, you were watching back then. He's the guy that was beefing with Higuain that used to be on Chicago.
Yes,
that he had on the
I
podcast.
remember.
He started
Yes.
talking crap about Higuain.
I remember that guy. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Can't stand that guy. Okay, go ahead. I'm
Herbers.
sorry.
I'm back. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I was just wondering, like, who's a player that we should, I guess, be watching out for that's sort of unexpected, I guess.
I mean, unexpected is hard to say, but we're
Well,
all.
give
I
us
think
the expected and then a sleeper.
Yeah, well, the expected would be someone like Giacomo Vrioni, who is starting to pick up a lot more minutes. Obviously, he's our only DP, and he needs to play at the level of a DP. So it's someone but he's just coming back from injury. He's only had, I think, one game of 90 minutes. The Toronto game, he played 90 minutes where they lost 6-1. Bryce Duke is very injured. Good news for you guys. So he's been out for like a month now. But yeah,
Chris loves Bryce Duke.
I was just about to ask. I figured maybe he'd make a comeback for tomorrow.
No, CF Montreal doesn't like Bryce Duke.
I could tell.
He's a
I could
disaster.
tell.
I personally don't like him. Anyways, we're not there to watch and not watch. So, yeah, Vrioni, I would say to watch because you want to see how much he can produce in a whole 90 minutes. The sleeper maybe to watch Nathan Saliba, the young midfielder who also has been kind of turning his game around. There's been rumors of him also going to Europe, maybe by the end of the season. He had a slow start to the season. I personally feel that he's starting to pick it up, but that's the one that we wanna start looking out for in the next few games.
If I were to ask you for a strength, do you have a strength? And I don't mean to say it like in a disrespectful manner. I'm just wondering, do you have something to consider a strength?
It's funny because when I asked you that, Daniel, we were like, "Come on, let's not make it obvious, Daniel." Right?
Yeah.
No, but for CF Montreal, as I mentioned, the strength was the defensive assignment.
Okay.
Again, I don't think 11 players can lock down Messi, but if they can find a way to distribute the assignments, it's been very, very good. So it's something that I would consider a strength, the assignment defending, because it makes everything else around the game, around CF Montreal's game, that much easier when you're just frustrating the players, and you see the players get frustrated when they get locked down. So that's something
we got friendly fire here. Richard Greenberg is
Nice
Mr.
to meet you,
Toronto.
Richard.
Shout out to Toronto right here, throwing shots at Montreal. I like it. Well, I will tell you, now that you said that that's possibly a strength. Man,
look at this. And Richard Greenberg saying I was born there.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
How bad does it have to be that a Toronto fan comes into an Inter Miami podcast just to hate on a Montreal guy? Like, what's going on, man?
I like it. I like it. And Hazel, yes. I don't know if I consider myself a Liverpool fan. I've tried to get into and start following English Premier League teams, but I just haven't had. I just like the players, Luis Diaz, and I love the history. I like
Liverpool too.
Yeah, I think they're cool, but I haven't been able to just lock down on a team. I tried to do Liverpool this year, but then they started doing so well that I felt cheap. Like I was just riding the top team. So
You sound like a Miami fan.
Zinger.
I'm a
All right. So what I was gonna say is,
Daniel's never inviting me
the,
again.
no, I love it. The man marking. If
Yeah.
you guys defend that way, where one man marks
Ooh.
one player and everybody
Who's
has their
the
own
man?
assignment,
Who
I
is it?
think that Campbell is going to have to be the guy that's on Messi, I would assume. But if that's the case, I think that plays to Miami's favorites, because if we widen the pitch, we go wide, and we give Messi even the slightest bit of space to create one-on-one against someone, I think that that's perfect, because Messi has had nothing but lack of space to work with over the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping that that's what that were to mean.
I
Is
think
that
that's what teams try to do, Daniel. They try to
Mm.
kind of like, okay, Columbus tried
Yeah.
to do that to Montreal. They did,
Okay.
because Wilfred Nancy's a genius as a coach. I'm sorry, he is, and he was a CF Montreal coach before that. And now with Columbus, you see his work, and he caught up really quick to Donadell's plan of like man marking players, and he was like, well, just pull him out, like pull the
Mhm.
player out, like
Yeah.
just bring the center back. But I think obviously Donadell learned from that, and
Okay.
the team has learned to rotate really well.
Okay.
Like they're reading each other movement. It's almost like a machine that you see them all rotate. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting. Honestly, it's very interesting to see. Does it cause, like you said, players like
Confusion?
Messi maybe a random opportunity?
Yeah.
Is there a slip up? Because the moment there's a slip up, I can tell you right now, there's a slip up. It is obvious, you know. And
Yeah.
man-to-man assignment also means that if Messi beats out George Campbell one-on-one, we're screwed. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what it is. But I like it anyways.
But no, absolutely no. But I definitely think that is a possible positive for Miami, is that we might see Messi with a couple opportunities of one-on-one in space, which we
Yeah.
haven't seen in a very long time this season. Weakness. You guys have 10 goals in like 37 games. So I would assuming that the attack would be the weakness on your side.
Yes, it's definitely, there's a we talk about it all the time in the show, and the fans talk about it all the time. They say, this team doesn't spend any money on any creative midfielders. A Bryce Duke, if you want, right? Who was supposed to be a creative midfielder, but they don't spend the money. And Carlos Gil, any midfielder that can just have that vision for creation. So last year there was Joseph Martinez, and they're also from former Inter Miami, right? And we've had a few strikers that did have the potential, but nobody really to serve them the ball. And so that's the biggest weakness, is who is going to be that person that's going to break the lines, that's going to expose maybe Miami's weaker defense per se. And yeah, that's just because I know, Daniel, we spoke a little bit earlier is about Miami's lack of speed and catching up. I can't really pinpoint someone that will say that CF Montreal player can run like crazy. You know what I'm saying? So,
Sealy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one player, and
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know.
Like Vancouver, when I was watching the Vancouver game,
everybody.
they were just outrunning circles around everybody, and that's just the kind of perfect competition you need against Miami.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna throw a hypothetical at you, Andy. Let's say hypothetically you are a gambling degenerate, and you decide, I am going to bet the house on Inter Miami to win this game. Then game day comes around, and for some reason you start getting a little nervous about your choice. So you go ahead and you see Mascherano, and you decide you're going to walk over to him because for some reason you have access to him. And to make sure that you win this bet, you go up to him and you whisper in his ear, "This is how you beat Montreal." What are you telling him?
Oh, good question. So how to beat Montreal? Well, you just have to get him a red card like Toronto did.
Okay.
And guarantee more than 2 goals.
I will tell you one thing.
Give him a case scenario they haven't practiced yet.
I will tell you, the refs, for as much as people around the league may think, have not been very friendly to us. We've taken one penalty shot over the last 2 seasons. So people seem to think that we get favored, but we don't. So the red card thing probably won't work for us.
No, I mean, look, in all seriousness, it would probably have to be like exploit. really
The wide
exploit
areas.
the midfield, because the midfield is we have Samuel Piet and Nathan Saliba that are similar profile players that are defensive, right? So
Okay.
there's I mentioned a little bit earlier when we were speaking about creativity, right? So if you lock down that midfield and you don't allow anything to go through, then that's it. Like you can't give a chance for the midfield. So exploit the midfield, because our midfield is not fast and they're not very creative. They're very defensive players and
Okay.
heavy footed. So Samuel Piet, I'm sure everybody's heard of him around the MLS. He's an excellent defensive midfielder. He is, and but that doesn't add on. There's no other phase to his game to say offensively impact the game. So yeah, if I had to tell Mascherano, is just exploit the midfield and see where it goes from there.
Well, if history
What's up, man?
says anything, if history says anything here, Danny, we've matched up with Montreal Impact 11 times. We've won 3 and lost 7 times. And drawn
Yeah,
once.
but I don't think we beat them in like the first 2 or 3 years of existence.
Well,
I mean, think about it. Yeah, Wolf Fernandes was the coach, and back then we had Bryce Duke, and we thought he was the future of our team. That's how bad we were. And now people are like, "Oh, I want to go back to those days. I'm tired of Messi." People are crazy. We have Messi right now, and they're like, "Oh, I missed the Bryce Duke days." Get out! You kidding me? You kidding me? Yeah, these people are crazy.
I do miss Pozuelo.
All right, prediction time. Andy, you are the guest. You go first. Prediction: what is the score line tomorrow night?
Am I here to make friends or enemies or to be invited again?
Don't worry, they're gonna dislike you no matter what.
Yay, used to it. Probably I'll say like a 2-2 draw.
Okay, 2-2 draw.
Oh, look at this, Sean Callahan, and he's probably one of our most intelligent people here. 2-2 draw.
Because I'm not like Daniel that goes on other people's show and says we're going to beat you 3-0. Thank you, Daniel. So just some nice guy, I guess.
Well, all right. Well, I guess I'll go next since he already threw it out there. I did go on the Ball is Round podcast earlier today, and I gave my prediction to Andy, and I do think it's going to be 3-0. Even though I would like a 1-0 win just to shove it in Chris's face, honestly, for no other reason, just because I want him to get mad with a win anyway. But I do think that I think after that comeback, even though it's only a draw, I do think that gave them some momentum. I think they felt good about that. I do. I really do think that they felt good about the way that ended, even though it should have been a win. And I think they'll come in and they'll say, okay, that was a positive end to that game. Now let's build on that. And they're going to come out here, and I see them playing well, especially against a poor defense, even though it's improved, but it's still one of the worst defenses, which ours is also worst defenses in the league. And I don't think that they have to worry too much about playing that high line because outside of Sealy, they don't really have too many people that are going to go vertical. So I think that this should be a 3-0 win. And even if it's 1-0, though, I'm happy with the dub. Chris,
it's so unacceptable. Look, Tracy B, I'm going to read this comment. Chris, do you know that in soccer, good teams sometimes lose and no one blows teams out all the time? Winning by 2 to 3 goals against teams just isn't realistic. Playing well and a win is what counts. Okay. I fully understand. I'm going to give credit to Tracy B here. Chris, a win and playing well is what counts. Okay, Tracy, we're going to talk soccer, football. I get it. Anybody can win. It's 11 people against 11 people. I completely get it. I will give you that. But when you have a team with Messi and all these other people that have crazy experience and crazy skill, and we're going to be playing against Montreal, listen, this is probably the most acceptable score line here. 7-0 Miami win. Listen, 2-2, Sean, completely unacceptable. Mike V. Enemy, 2-1, completely unacceptable. 2-2 Rubita, get out of here. 2-1 Rubita, no. We don't need any. Sander, 3-2 inner win. This is also unacceptable.
Is it just because of the talent on paper that you say that, Chris? Because I'm not arguing against you, but it just feels like what Chris is saying is what everybody outside of Inter Miami says about Inter Miami. just because of what it looks like on paper.
So here's the thing, right? People look at the game against Philly and they're like, oh, 3-3 tie. It was a slobber knocker, right? Like it was uber competitive. Oh my goodness. No. To me, we got destroyed by Philly. Okay. And by the way, I'm just gonna, yes, you can sit there and do all that, Danny. I'm gonna tag everyone. I'm gonna tag everyone to Todd the God's Twitter, because he did on YouTube the breakdown of the goals and the attempts, just so you guys could see how brutal we looked. Okay. This, Walter, you're the best of the best. This is the score line I'm going to go with.
You've insulted him so many times.
I didn't insult Walter. Walter is the best, and I'm going with his prediction 4-1. If it's not more than 2 goals, Danny, it is a completely unacceptable line.
All right.
And I'm not going to insult Walter. I promise. And yes, of code, the end is near. If we don't win by 2+ goals, if we tie, it is over. It is over.
Well, I will tell you that, Andy, that anything less than a win tomorrow, and things are going to get really ugly down here.
Well, yeah, that's the
this
thing.
whole thing up.
I was going to ask you guys, I know this is about Montreal, but
No, yeah.
we just heard an hour ago that there was the second coach that was fired in the MLS, the St. Louis coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would this warrant
No.
Javier? Okay.
Well, he should have been fired. We knew he wasn't going to be fired, but we felt after he lost 3-0 to Orlando, which is technically what they call our rival, after the last month and a half, that should have been it. And for most coaches, I think it is. But it's hard to find a coach that you could bring in to coach somebody like Messi,
To coach
and
Messi.
Suarez.
To coach
Right.
Messi.
Well, and Suarez and Busquets and all these people, right? You need the right person for that. I think Tata was the perfect person because he had already done it once. He had already won in the MLS. He had the perfect resume. Yeah, he had the perfect resume. Coached these players in the past, has won an MLS Cup. It was perfect. But now it's very, very difficult, I think. And so yeah, even if we lose to Montreal tomorrow, Mascherano won't get fired until after the Club World Cup, because I don't think that we have enough time to bring somebody else in and get us ready for us. Even though we're gonna get our ass kicked in that thing, no matter who's coach, but whatever.
But again, somebody messaged, I can't find the message, but somebody messaged somewhere around here that I didn't expect us, or I'm not okay with where we're at. No, I am not okay. This is not a safe space here, Upcode. This is not safe. This is abysmal what's been happening. And Sean, really, if you think about it, we have Javi Morales who babysat this team.
That's what people used to say.
But
you can't.
Listen,
Chris, do you want to ask Andy the questions before we ride out of here?
Yes.
Andy, you got some time to answer a couple questions?
No, this was hurtful enough. I think I'm out. Go ahead.
Well, that's good. That's good. Let me bring up some. Well, first of all, did Bryce?
Wait. Bring it. I think he was part of that team. Real quick, Andy, your thoughts on Cristiano Ronaldo coming to Miami?
Oh, is that happening?
No, it's not going to happen. I'm wondering if what you would think if it did happen. It's not going to happen.
That would literally make the MLS already what is lopsided to Miami topple over completely. It's just, what are we doing? Yeah, no.
I think it would be funny because Messi and Ronaldo fans hate each other so much. I wonder how that would go if all of a sudden they're on the same exact team.
Kumbaya, right? Like LeBron James and Dwayne Wade when they got together. Everybody loves each other all of a sudden.
Maybe. I don't know. It was pretty toxic when it was Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie for the Brooklyn Nets because they would all blame each other. Oh, this guy sucks, and that's why my guy isn't winning, and blah blah blah. But just a random thought.
It could be interesting. I mean, it could be interesting, but again, when we're talking about the business side of the MLS, it will be a huge boost. As far as Inter Miami, again, we spoke about it 30 seconds ago. Who would coach that team? Can Javier Mascherano coach those two insanely great players, but very egotistical players? I don't know. I don't know who would be able to do it.
I don't think it's going to happen. But
go ahead,
I tell you that there's more of a chance of Ronaldo coming than Modric coming. So anybody that's talking about Modric, just stop. Ronaldo's not going to come, but I promise you there's more of a chance of Ronaldo being here than Modric. Modric is not coming here.
Why?
You want to know?
Because
Why?
he's old. He's been
as
old
shit.
for like the last 15 years.
I mean, he plays.
We had the discovery rights to De Bruyne, and we gave him up to Chicago. You think we gave up the discovery rights to De Bruyne, which is 32, I think, for 40-year-old Modric? No way.
All right. Yeah.
This would be pretty sexy here, Danny. Let's give Beckham a try as a coach.
No, he doesn't. He's living his best life. You think he's gonna want to do that on a daily basis? No way. All right, sorry I interrupted. Go ahead, Chris, with your questions. I apologize.
All right, so I'll throw some meat. I'll throw some meat on Andy's face here real quick. So you need to make some decisions here. You have 5 pieces of steak and 6 pieces of toast, Andy. Where are we going?
Steak with toast, 3 and 3 would be fantastic.
Está bien.
Okay, está bien. So I just made sandwiches and I cut my kids' sandwiches one way, but I'm not going to tell you. You have to pick how you like your sandwiches cut. Diagonal or north to south?
You know what? I don't have one that I like, but it's just the one I grew up with because my family used to cut it that way. I'll make the one to the left.
Oh, the diagonal cut.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's how I cut my kids.
Not a fan of it, but it was the way I grew up.
When I go grocery shop, what happened, Danny?
So he's 3 for 3 so far. Good job, Randy.
Well, let's see if he lands this one. When I go grocery shopping, I don't push the cart like these guys do. I pull the cart like this guy does. So my question, Andy, is: are you a puller or a pusher, or a handbasket guy?
I'm the one. I'm actually pushing because usually my wife is the one walking around telling me where to go everywhere in the grocery store. So just push the cart around and follow her around. So,
There you go.
if that's an answer, I'm sorry.
That is an answer.
No, that's
the
perfect. That's the correct
that's the
answer.
only
Chris
acceptable answer. Danny, I get a lot of velocity and coverage when I pull the shopping cart. Okay, accurate turnage is what I get.
Yeah, but at this age, you can pull a muscle doing that.
Listen, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm taking that whole lane over when I shop. So there's band boys, and there's a decision that needs to be made, and you need to choose between Backstreet Boys and
Don't even
NSYNC.
finish the question on the right there. It's my band.
Boom!
There we go, my guy.
Oh no, that's terrible. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, man. All day.
No way, man. Backstreet Boys is a bunch of
Absolutely.
garbage.
Yes, baby.
There you
No
go,
way.
Blackstreet Boys. All right. Do you eat cereal by any chance?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. When you eat cereal, after the cereal is done, do you slurp the milk that's left over, or do you dump it out?
Are you kidding me? Of course I slurp it. Have to.
Yeah. No, Danny is a criminal. Danny is a
What the
walking
hell?
criminal.
It's
Yeah.
nothing but sugar.
Why would you do anything otherwise?
This guy has
No,
no
it's
idea
nothing
what life.
but the milky sugar. Ugh.
The least mutant. Yes. Thanks.
Listen, we've had a guy pick 1 for steak. We've had people pick 6 for toast.
Yeah, that
So
was bad.
what you've picked is fairly solid.
Is Super Mario a superhero?
A superhero? No.
Mhm.
No.
Why not?
Why would he be?
Is Batman a superhero?
Yeah.
No, dude, he's a freaking Home Depot customer. He has no powers.
I know.
Did I say the wrong answer?
Give Super Mario
both.
a mushroom and he'll kick everybody's ass.
All right.
Abs-
Sure. Just to make you guys happy, I guess.
Now I'm gonna have all the Batman fans in the chat, which are like 3 of them. They're all gonna get mad at me now because Batman, superhero, I'm so mad.
I think that's it. I don't think I have any more questions.
Car,
Chris.
expensive belt, expensive tools.
Andy, I'm gonna ask you
Chris
one
is
last
still
question.
going. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. He can go forever.
Stop him. Something to stop.
Last question.
Yeah.
What do you miss most about Miami since leaving, outside of the weather?
Man, the food. The food. I
Okay.
mean, just having Peruvian food at every other corners. I mean, I tell my family this all the time. I'm like, just the opportunity to like say that Peruvian restaurant sucks and that one is good is like a luxury. Where
It
because
is.
here you have like say a select few Not to say
Yeah.
we don't have a lot, but it's just like it's Peruvian, yeah, And I say Peruvian because I love Peruvian food. I'm Peruvian,
Yeah.
so but there's also a lot of different cuisine in Miami that I miss: Latino cuisine, Colombian food, Cuban food, pollo tropical. What are we even talking about right
So
now?
like, you don't have as much. Like, I mean, there's got to be a couple places that that are within like a 5 kilometer, right? Because you guys Canadians measure it by kilometers. So.
Yeah, please, yes.
I don't even know I don't even know what the fuck that is.
What's a fast food place out there? Like not the McDonald's, Burger King. Like is there
Yeah,
like
well, no, I
Burger King
mean,
out there?
I think I heard it in the I saw it in the comments that obviously the more popular food that everybody knows here is the poutine, right? So there's the orange
I
julep.
don't know what that is.
You know what? If I can just describe it, it's just like salchipapas, but like it's
Okay.
instead of salchichas, you have cheese curds with some gravy and yeah,
That's
it's
acceptable.
Nice.
Interesting.
I've never done that before. I've never compared it to Latino food, but yeah.
Hold on, because Rick is telling me he sent me the graphic, and I don't know if I saved the graphic, Danny. But I mean, I might as well just say the question before we write out, because Rick A is asking right now. Ducks and horses, Christopher. I literally sent you the graphic. So, Andy, would you take on 100 horse-sized ducks or one duck? No, wait. Did I do that? Did I do that right?
One horse-sized
Would
duck?
you take 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
One horse-sized duck. I'm tall. Yeah, no chance.
Wow, that's terrible.
Me too. Me too.
Completely dominate.
How tall are you, Andy?
I'm 6'1". Let's get up and stand up. No, but it's I'm 6'1". Yeah.
Okay.
I would take I said the same thing.
Danny, you would get crushed by that horse-sized duck.
You're still having a hard time imagining what 100.
You literally
of those
just
little
leg
horses look
sweep like 10 at a time.
at a time.
No,
you get like 4 or 5. As
Daniel, I think he's just gonna grab a cart like he does at the store and just he's gonna pull his way through all those.
I will.
Well, if you can use weapons, then I guess you're onto something.
No, I mean I could just leg sweep it. What are we doing?
And then last question for me: Tim Hortons, is it really that good?
I mean, it's a Canadian thing. I'm not gonna say it's not good, but because I will be canceled in Canada. But
it's really that's okay.
It's a Canadian thing, so yeah, I mean, it's good. But yeah, you got to try Tim Hortons whenever you're here.
All right, Andy, much appreciated. They used to have a Tim Hortons out in I forgot what the stadium's called already, where the Florida Panthers play. I think they got rid of it, but they used to have a Tim Hortons in there.
Yeah, of course, because there's so many Canadians that go there, right? Makes sense. Makes them feel like at home.
Andy, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Please let everybody know where they can find you if they want to hear some Montreal football.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you guys so much for having me, Chris. Daniel, was great, man. Great having you guys and everybody that listen. So you guys can find us in the Ball is Around podcast every Sunday. What is this, man? Yo, I'm trying to promote my thing. What you guys? Yeah, you can find us on the Ball is Around every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. We will do a live show where we talk about CF Montreal, and yeah, that's where we're at. Me and Elias Grigoriadis.
Nice.
Check it out, guys. Andy is a real one.
Thanks.
How long you guys been doing the podcast?
Oh well, I mean, look, I started over a year ago, but Elias and Hattie before me. I don't know if you guys ever met him, but Hattie has been doing it for a while, 5-6 years. So they've been around for a bit. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Chris. Any final words?
Listen, if we don't win tomorrow by multiple goals,
I'll be back. Do I get invited?
You might get invited.
Do I get invited?
It's gonna be miserable here. It's gonna be miserable.
I feel like Chris is just gonna spend the show insulting me. Like
I'm gonna insult Danny.
We've had people come on here when they've been in Miami when they've asked to come on. So if you guys win and you want to come on and talk your poop, you can.
Let's do it. I'll be here.
Look at it. Andy is a real one, eh?
All right. As always, that's it. Tomorrow we'll be back for the post game 7:30 start, right? So around 9:30 or so.
Fuck you, buddy.
Nice. All right. All right. If you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends. And as always, for those of you in the chat, we appreciate you hanging out with us for the last 50 minutes. As always, you guys are the best part of the show. And we'll be back tomorrow for the post game. And that's about it. So until the next one, have a good one.
There's still time, Florida, man.